Hey, it's JK. In pretty much every Souls game, there's a starting class that looks like this. It usually has a name like Deprived, Wretch, or even Waste of Skin. People playing the game for the first time will probably see this class, which basically is a naked guy holding a stick and a plank of wood with low stats across the board, versus all the other knights and sorcerers you can start as, and naturally assume that choosing this class is the equivalent of doing a challenge run. But what if I told you this naked man with a stick can absolutely dominate the game? Do not overlook this class. Today, I'm going to show you how to destroy Dark Souls 3 using only the weapons and armour the Deprived class starts with. I'm obviously going to allow rings and consumable buffs where relevant. If you enjoy the video, I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button to support the creation of future content and get us to our goal of 200,000 subscribers by the end of the year, as we are very close now. But anyway, if you've never used this class before, you've been depriving yourself. Let me show you why. First, we obviously call our character Deprived and get our beautiful green specimen up. You don't have to make your character green, but I'd recommend you do so as it increases your attack power. Seriously, it does. Try it and let me know in the comments how it went. Now, I should get one thing out the way right from the get-go. The plank shield is actually trash. You can't even parry with it, and basically we're not going to use it at all. What we are going to use is our trusty club. After a quick jump to get a Titanite shard, we go onwards to face Udex Gundyr. Using the raw weapon art of the club, we can give ourselves a temporary attack boost to take full advantage of the opening at the start of the fight. The other great thing about the club, as well as the damage of course, is the stagger potential. While it may not be as high as some of the larger weapons, the speed of its attacks mean we can get staggers pretty easily. A few more swings, and we take out the first boss in under a minute. With the coiled sword placed, I level up strength a little. I then flawlessly execute the tree jump with no issues whatsoever. Using a firebomb I purchased earlier and a black firebomb I chose as starting gift, I trade with the crows for a large shard and a titanite chunk, as well as grabbing the silver serpent ring. With that sorted, we hie on to Head Wall of Lothric. The most important thing to grab early on is this gold pine resin. We then run through to the next bonfire and grab a titanite shard on the way. With that and the one we grabbed earlier, we upgrade the club to +1. I grabbed another couple points in strength and then went to go see Emma to get the banner. We now face off against Vort, where our club buffed with gold pine resin does some pretty solid damage. Just in case you were curious, the raw weapon art does not stack with resin, as for some reason the raw weapon art is also classed as a weapon buff. Once we lower Vort to half health, he does his charges and then tries to frost breath us. If you hit him with a charged heavy attack right in his face as he prepares this, you instantly stagger him for a critical. This was actually enough to finish him off. This was an extra vortinarily quick fight. Using his soul, we drive up our strength stats some more and then fly on down to the Pundead settlement. Hitting the dogs with the club sends them flying, which stops their attacks pretty handily. I grab the Estus shards and embers nearby, before making my way past all these stone imps and plunging attack this guy en route to the next bonfire. I head up to the top of this tower to make friends with the giant, and drop off the lift on the way down to bash the hell out of this demon. The club staggers him very easily and takes him down in no time at all. There's several very useful items here, like the 4 human pine resins in this chest, Flynn's ring to boost damage at low weight load, and of course the Chloranthy ring for faster stamina recovery. I then grab the Mortician's Ashes as well. This lets us buy the sewer key from the Hand Shrine Maiden, which in turn lets us reach this pit where we can kill a crystal lizard for a heavy gem. We also grab the Titanite shards that are down here as well. For no real reason apart from my own amusement, I also lured the Irithyll Knight to this shaft where he fell to his demise. We do need a certain coal to apply the heavy infusion, but luckily it's not too far on into the game. I then grab loads more Titanite shards in the area. There's a lot all throughout Farron Swamp, so I'd highly recommend grabbing them all, and probably avoiding dying is also a good idea. This one here is actually 2 Titanite shards. Lastly, make sure to head up the top of the big bridge to get 2 large Titanite shards from these lizards. With all that, we can now give our club the heavy infusion and upgrade it to +4. I then level up strength all the way to 28. Lastly, I buy a couple more gold pine resins from the Shrine Maid Handen, and now it's Abyss Watcher's time. The best opener you could possibly ask for is one of these charge attacks that lets you easily get behind him for a backstab. After this, you can kinda just keep hitting him for big damage. Sure, I nearly died there, but just ignore that. Before long, Phase 2 begins. The best strat here is, as always, bait the jump at the end of the combo for a pretty free backstab. With a few hits as he gets up, his health is already looking pretty low. One more backstab and a couple hits finishes the fight in just over a minute. They kept watching the abyss, but they should have been watching their vulnerable backs. This is a big victory because not only does this let us pump strength even more, but it means we have access to the catacombs of Karthus. You might wonder why that's good given this area kinda sucks, but trust me, things are about to pick up. First, we take out the hat-wearing skeleton to burst this boulder for a bone shard, pummel these pernicious pests, and shatter the skeleton warriors. Seriously, one hit dismantles these usually annoying enemies. I even took the time to bash this one off a cliff. Speaking of bashing, we cut the rope to this bridge with our completely blunt club, and then give this demon the same treatment as the last one we encountered. Absolutely trivialized. The main reason to head to Smoldering Lake is all the large Titanite shards lying around. After popping some boss souls to pump strength to 42, I run around in the lake area grabbing all the large shards I can get while trying to avoid being blasted. The crystal lizard here also drops a chunk, giving us 2 of them in total. We then trick the ballista into killing the June worm and use all the Titanite we grabbed to upgrade our club all the way to +7. I decided now might be a good time for a bit more endurance and bought a whole load more resin. Now let's go use some charcoal pine resin to bring down the crystal sage. Our club now does absolutely monstrous damage, allowing us to almost kill the sage before the clone phase. Even though the clones arrived, one more hit was all it took to end him. Shame he can't see into the future. He might have had a presage which would have warned him. We make it to the cathedral and unlock the first shortcut here. I leveled up endurance and then returned to the cathedral to grab my prize, Lloyd's sword ring, giving us 10% more damage when we're at full health. Now the next move may or may not surprise you. We're going to return to High Wall where we beat Emma to death to get the Vow of Basins. This lets us fight Dancer early, which will be important for the efficiency in this run. You see, we won't get any more upgrade materials taking either route towards the remaining Lords of Cinder, but we will if we kill Dancer right now. Our weapon can only get stronger by beating her. She's weak to dark, so the human pine resin comes in handy now. With a couple of charged heavies and a few smacks, we stagger her to the point where she begins her phase transition. With a few more hits during this, she's down to 1/3 health. A couple more after the spin to win, and the dark AoE she does, and that's Dancer done in under 60 seconds. Ball really good damage from the club here. With endurance upgraded a bit more, we get the ladder unlocked to travel up into Lothric Castle. Up here, there's loads of chunks we can grab, so I went on a big old mission to grab every single one I could get my grubby hands on. I also snuck behind the pus of man coming out of this dragon, so I could easily beat it to death. To continue our somewhat confusing route, we now make our way into the Ashes of Ariandel DLC. Why come here, you might ask? Well, we need one more upgrade material and this is the easiest place to get it. We smash down the bridge and begin our descent. I somehow made it to the bottom without choking the drops and then beat this angry tree to death. Doing this unlocks this big old ladder, which we spend ages climbing up until we get the Titanite slab waiting for us at the top. With all that, we now have a max upgraded heavy infused club ready to go. Now you might also be wondering about a certain ring we can access now, the Red Tearstone ring, offering 20% more damage when we're under 20% health. Well, you'd obviously replace Lloyd's sword ring with this as you can't be both at full health and under 20% health at the same time. The damage difference between the two isn't much. Testing it on this hollow, I got about 25 more points of damage with the Red Tearstone. I did also test with resins, but again the difference was very marginal. Given that using the Red Tearstone ring means you basically have to avoid getting hit entirely, I prefer Lloyd's sword ring for a little less damage, but some leeway if I make a minor mistake here or there. Obviously I remembered to change this before going into Dragonslayer Armour's boss fight, and didn't have to fumble about with the menu upon entering. Despite that snafu, this fight was pretty smooth. Our damage is excellent now, and the Dragonslayer armor has many big slam attacks that it's quite easy to take advantage of to punish him. After he does the fake out slam to signal the beginning of the second phase, a few more hits while he charges his first attack knock him down for a stun. With him now just a couple of hits away from death, I dodge his next assault and land 2 final hits to stop his armour farming. As we're in the area, I also proceed into the King-Sumed Khan's garden and unlock the shortcut. Osiris the Calamari dragon is here waiting for us. The stagger from the club works amazing in the first phase, and during the phase transition we land a veritable barrage of hits. After that, it's pretty much a case of just running into his crotch and hitting him. Between staggers and some good damage numbers, this was one of the easier Osiris fights in a while. He goes down in just over a minute, turning him from a consumed king to an exhumed king. After putting another few points into endurance, I ran through beyond Osiris to smack Snaky Jake in the face and get the Path of the Dragon emote before dropping down into the unintended graves. It's time for our rematch with Gundyr, and this guy is a tough cookie. The first phase goes by in pretty straightforward fashion, as getting behind his attacks is quite easy here. A few hits is more than enough for the stagger, the ensuing damage of which pushes him to phase 2. I actually got kinda lucky here that he didn't start with the charge attack, instead doing some hits that were more easily avoided. Despite getting hit by an errant punch, I was able to stagger him again to spell his demise in around 40 seconds. I bet all of you who underestimated this weapon are pretty quiet now. I quickly went and grabbed the Hornet Ring, and then went and put a few more points into endurance. I think we really get to see the power of this build when we go back and take on some of the earlier bosses. The Deacons of the Deep go down in a single hit each from the club, and we're actually able to smack down the Archdeacon before he even finishes rising up to join the fray. He didn't even get to die with dignity. I suppose we also have to do the Curse-Rotted Greatwood, unfortunately. With charcoal pine resin, we break the hand and leg balls in a single hit, and then break his ball balls with just 2. 2 more hits when we land break the ball balls once again, and then 2 more hits to this appendage is enough to hand this tree a defeat. Okay, what else we got? Oh yeah, Old Demon King. With some human pine resin, we deal enough damage to the demon to send him to phase 2 before he even gets up at the start of the fight. We then land a few more hits while he swings his big stick around summoning the meteors before running off to avoid them. It only took 3 or 4 more hits to finish him before he even got to do his big explosion, granting him a demorable death at my hands. Take a guess how many hits it took to break Wolnir's bracelets. 2. 2 light attacks each is enough to break Wolnir's bracelets. That is kinda wild damage from basically a piece of wood. We destroy them all and watch as Wolnir skulks off into the darkness. His defeat lets us enter Irithyll. Before we head on in, we upgrade endurance a bit more and then take out the Sullivan beast before he can even finish doing his opening roar animation. Pontiff's right eye might actually be useful here as it boosts our attack if we keep attacking successively, which does tend to happen quite a bit with this build. Definitely worth a try. We then make our way into Church of Yorshka, taking out the knights on the way. Our first stop is actually going to be Irithyll Dungeon. The reason? The most important ashes for this run, the Xanthus ashes, letting us buy unlimited gold pine resin. We're down here anyway, so we may as well push on to the profaned capital. I stocked up on as many gold pine resins as I could, and then went to get Patch's ashes to unlock unlimited human pine resin from Firelink. It's now time for Yhorm the Giant. Now, if you've seen any of my other Dark Souls 3 runs, you know the strat. Hang around under his legs, bait the slam, hit his right hand, repeat. But with our build here, it took just 3 hits to the hand to get the stagger. Landing 2 light attacks followed by the riposte on his head was enough to bring Yhorm to almost half health. I smacked his left arm as he did the phase transition for some nice free damage, and then brought him down for another stagger shortly after, which spelt his demise. This was Yhorm the Giant done without the Storm Ruler in 2 minutes. Probably the fastest no Storm Ruler kill of Yhorm I've ever done, a performance that I'm pretty proud of. Now for the fight where I'm the most sad that this stupid shield can't parry Pontiff Sullivan. As a result, easily the messiest fight so far. I did get hit more than pretty much any other boss to this point, but at least the damage was good and we got to take out the shadow before it could even do anything. We lay the hits in thick, keeping the pressure on, and despite nearly dying, I was able to finish him off and send him into eternal sleep. As I ran through Upper Irithyll, I got invaded by someone called Mini-Me, who I'm pretty sure also invaded me when I did the Dark Souls 3 Bad Weapons run back in June. Not sure why they have such a vendetta against your favourite green guy. Aldrich was somewhat annoying, starting immediately with his arrow rain attack. I also got caught by his teleport, but luckily the damage we had done already pushed him into phase 2. I got in close immediately to hopefully prevent him from doing the arrow attack again. My luck held out as he chose to do 2 melee attacks in a row, allowing me plenty of time to pummel him until he folded in half. Before we head to the Grand Archives, I engaged in some peaceful meditation to let me make my way to Archdragon Peak. Now, if you're still not convinced of the club's power, you will be shortly. The club is actually so strong, it has the ability to kill the Ancient Wyvern in a single hit. Just get to this ledge and dive off with a plunging attack, and boom, that's an Ancient Wyvern one-shot, possibly the first time anyone has ever done that. I actually realised at this point that I could still get more damage by levelling strength, so let's do that. More damage is always better after all. I run through the area, avoiding basically everything on the way, and then enter for the Nameless King fight. I decided to just use the raw weapon art to buff my damage, and then proceeded to miss every single attack on the Wyvern. Great, I hate this phase. Luckily, the next few hits connect, and we take down the stupid bird shortly after. I then take my time with hits on the Nameless King until we get the stagger, during which we land a ballistic barrage of blows. As he goes to summon his lightning, we keep hitting him to get another stagger. Unfortunately, his lightning did damage us, but the ensuing riposte and couple of hits as he stood up took him out in short order. We left his head spinning like a windmill. After getting more of that tasty strength that we love, I made my way into the Grand Archives at last. I took great pleasure here in absolutely pummeling the Crystal Sage into submission. A very well deserved beating for all the issues this guy has caused me. I also took the time to smash all 3 of these NPCs here. Weirdly, the axe guy and the katana guy were really not an issue, but the sorcerer kept parrying me. It's really weird he can do this because he doesn't ever follow up with a riposte. But anyway, we chased him down and beat him eventually. At long last, we made it to the top of the archives. This of course means it's time to face the Twin Princes. Ian the Law is not too tough, most of his attacks are fairly telegraphed, and enough hits open him up for a nice high damage riposte, which helps to quickly push the fight to phase 2. Rick the Loth getting involved does complicate things, particularly when he summons the multiple homing projectiles. But staying in close means we mainly get Ian's sword swings, which we can counter easily. With some persistence, Ian drops to the ground, and we finish Rick as he revives Ian and then stands back up to put an end to these regal reprobates. I kept the strength pumping and then placed all the ashes of the lords on their respective thrones to access the final area of the base game. The club has done exceptionally well so far. How will it hold up against the final boss? Well, before that, there was one other thing I wanted to test. As I was using gold pine resin a lot, was the lightning clutch ring actually useful? This ring makes you take more damage, but boosts your lightning attack damage in return. Upon testing it, the damage increase was extremely minor, like 7 extra points of damage minor. Not even remotely worth it, but I suppose if you want to max the damage, this would be needed as well. So, let's try out Soul of Cinder. Damage is solid for sure, but his first phase has one of the most unpredictable movesets in the game. That being said, despite taking hits in the process, we are able to stagger him with enough hits. We can't riposte, but it is a nice window to land a couple of hits in. He only form changed once, switching to spear mode where is Wrath of the Gods quarters. Despite this, I dodged the spin attack and staggered him again to bring us into phase 2. The attacks here are very predictable I find, and have nice windows after dodging to hit him. Staggers are still very much on the table, so after not too long, we leave this boss to die in this desolate place. Unfortunately, I now made one of the most stupid decisions of the whole run. I put 3 points into Vigor. I know, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what I was thinking. Just like I'm not sure what FromSoft was thinking when they made this Gravetender boss. That said though, the club was absolutely insane for dealing with the Gravetender. After running around behind him to do a backstab, which was boosted by the Hornet ring I was wearing, I went in close and just kept spamming R1, stun locking him in place pretty much until he died. The wolf did bite me a couple times, but as he went to howl for phase 2, we staggered him and landed a strong riposte to easily kill this Sith pretender. One thing I wasn't expecting was the club to stun the Croverine so easily. While he did still damage me, I actually riposted him, which I don't think I've ever done before. Sir Wilhelm was, as usual, a bit of a dick. But we can stagger him nicely with the club and even interrupt his heal animation, which allowed us to score a devastating backstab to take him out. I then rectified my previous level up error by slamming more points into strength. We're going to need all the strength we can get, as the next boss is Frida. Phase 1 as always is pretty free. Just get her for backstabs when she jumps or disappears, and then follow up with a couple light attacks as she gets up. For Phase 2, Ariandel is the main target, while trying to just avoid Frida's ground frost attacks. Ariandel did kinda run me over at some point, but Frida went to heal, and I got a nice tasty backstab on her. It then only took a couple more hits to stun Ariandel, with the riposte being enough to end this phase. For Black Flame Frida, she always starts with the Black Flame jump attack, which you can easily use as a backstab opportunity if you remove lock-on and run towards her. After that, just keep fishing for backstabs, and you can kinda trivialize this phase. She couldn't handle my free direction strategy. We keep pushing strength up higher and higher, and then enter the Dreg Heap for the final section of the run. Many of the +3 rings here aren't that useful for our build, but I did decide to grab the Ring of Favor +3. Demon Prince is the first boss of this DLC, and it's a doozy. I opted to actually just use the Raw to buff our physical damage, as their elemental resistance is pretty huge. My strat was to lure Demon from below away from Demon in Pain at the beginning, so while Demon in Pain powers up, we hit it enough times to get a riposte. After a few follow-up hits, we kill him just as he's finally managed to transform. Demon from below goes down shortly after this thanks to a similar strategy, and now we move on to the main event. Demon Prince has pretty crazy damage resistances, so it goes without saying our damage was quite a lot less. But while numbers may be down, the ability to stagger certainly isn't. The stagger provides an opportunity for a couple hits before landing the riposte for some respectable reduction of his health bar. Keep on top of him, keep getting between his legs, and keep cracking him in his demon balls until at last, we cause this Princer to get jammed. Strength is now at 58, which is pretty high. Time to enter the Ring City proper. So you know these annoying turtle cleric guys here? Yeah, the club smashes them into paste very easily. Good, because I hate them. Once we were a bit further in, I popped all my souls to get 60 strength, and then fought off Medea on the bridge. There's actually a lot of opportunities to hit his head here, surprisingly. It doesn't take too many to open him up for that sweet riposte, and send him tumbling down below. Medea's proper boss fight was quite the opposite of Demon Prince, in that the damage numbers were good, but his health is just so damn high. But being able to take off about 10% of Medea's health in 3 hits? Yeah, that feels good. Dodge backwards for most of his attacks, and keep focus on the head. All the melee attacks he does are very predictable, and leave him wide open. Once you're in the second phase, just stay close and keep on hitting. Eventually, you get that sweet stun and land a beastly riposte to nuke about a quarter of his health. Although he's not dead, his getting up animation allows for a few more hits, which are more than enough to give him a colonic mid-irrigation. Should we level Vigor now? Nah. I went and railed on the Raging Ringed Knight and prepared for Half-Light, but I could never have predicted what would happen here. I forgot that I was online, and after easily smashing Ian, it turned out Half-Light was Sadu, the guy who kept appearing as Half-Light and mocking me in my DS3 bad weapons run. But this time, he weirdly just stood there as I beat him to death quickly. Revenge is mine! This time it was he who met his Sadoom. After the last levels of strength in the run, it was Gale time. Oh, hold on a sec. As I was saying, it's Gale time. I'd originally thought to mess about with Rotten Pine Resin and Poison Gale, but in the end decided that big strength bonk was in fact the way. It doesn't take too many hits to stun Gale, and even though you can't do a riposte or even much of a follow-up because of how short it is, it can stop his attacks mid-flow, which can be useful. For the second phase, I focused on circling around the back of him and just waiting for that sweet stun. The final phase becomes more hectic due to all his chaotic follow-ups. The 3-jump combo I find is the best to land a good number of consecutive hits. Before long, we prove that all you need to beat all of Dark Souls 3 with relative ease is a stick. Try it for yourself. Come join the club. So with that, The run is complete. Moral of the story? Don't deprive yourself any longer. Choose this class and dominate the game. I've been JK Leeds. See ya, and have a good one.